Hey guys, so today I want to do an instructional video on how to install LineageOS on the Essential phone because I just did that and it's not that straightforward. It literally took me all night to figure out some of these quirks and bugs. So yes, most of the time you do follow this instruction guide here, but there are some differences, some issues I ran into. So I'm just going to point that out to you guys here in this video. So first of all, this is for Mac, not Windows. I could not get this working on Windows. When I tried to do it using Windows, I kept getting some issue with the ADB and USB driver to my Essential phone, and it kept giving me issues when I tried to do the fast boot. Like it kept saying like maximum file size exceeded or something like that when I tried to do fast booting or transferring some files over. And yeah, I don't know why. I looked up online. Some people said it might be the USB cable, it might be the USB port. You have to plug it in a certain way. So I could not get it working even using different USB ports and USB cables. But I tried using my Mac and it seems to work. So this is going to be for Mac because I couldn't get it working on Windows. So if you guys are on Windows, you can get it working, then that's great. But I couldn't get it working on Windows. So this is going to be for Mac. All right. So install LineageOS on Mata, this is for the Essential phone. First of all, make sure that you go down to the LineageOS downloads and find the Essential phone here, Mata, and this is the latest build, 17.1 nightly. This is based on Android 10, so make sure you get this build of LineageOS, and also make sure to get this recovery image as well. So download both of these first before we start. And then here are the basic requirements. Make sure that you have ADB and fastboot. So if you don't have that, there's a separate instruction guide here. So these are the Windows instruction guide. I will say for Windows, there's one thing different. It says to download the universal ADB driver from this GitHub. Here, I would say go to this website instead, adb.clockworkmod.com, and download the .msi Windows installer from here. It's going to be easier than downloading that GitHub zip file. So that's the only difference that's the only thing I would change about that instruction guide is go to this website and download from here instead. Don't go to that GitHub. It's a little bit more complicated. All right, so we're dealing with Mac OS. So this all works. Download the Mac OS zip from Google. It's going to be a zip file. So you just unzip it, and it will be /platform tools. It'll be a folder called platform tools after you click into it. And then you add it to your bash profile in your terminal. I actually did not add it to my bash profile. All this does is make sure that when you restart your terminal, you'll have the ADB command on it. But I'm kind of lazy, so I just go into the platform tools directory in my hard drive, and instead of doing ADB, it doesn't exist. Obviously, it's not my bash, but you can do ./ADB because this is just going into this folder here, right? It exists in my folder. So I just went to the folder and I just execute everything from this folder using ./ADB. And then make sure that your phone is set up for USB debugging. So if you haven't done that, make sure you enable developer options and enable USB debugging. And then set up fastboot as well. So fastboot also comes with this. So you'll find that there's also a fastboot command here. So you can just execute it using ./ right? ./ADB, ./fastboot will both work from here. So that's how I did it. You could also add it to your if you added it to your bash profile, then both fastboot and ADB will be available. I'm just lazy to do that, so I just execute it straight from my directory. So anyways, that's to get ADB and fastboot working. We enable USB debugging, and disclaimer here is that before we unlock the bootloader, make sure you back up your files because it will erase all your data. So all your critical data and stuff, make sure you back that up. It will kind of format the device. So just a disclaimer there. Enable the OEM unlock in developer options. And then these commands mostly work for me. So ADB reboot bootloader. Another thing you can do is instead of doing this command, you can do this command, or you can just hold down volume and power on your phone. Volume down and power will boot it into fastboot mode. So that would also work. And then make sure you can find it with fastboot devices. On Windows, if you can't find it, then you have to install the driver from Essential Phone. So you just Google Essential Phone driver, and then you'll install it for Windows, and then it will find it. I think for Mac, I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to install any special drivers. It just worked once I connected it to my Mac. and then this command will actually unlock the bootloader. So if your device state is showing locked on your fast boot screen, then you execute this command, and then next time you reboot it, it should be showing device state unlocked after that. And then you boot the custom recovery. So you can also use TWRP as well, which a lot of people use. I just use the lineage recovery. So this is the recovery image that we downloaded from here. And you just go into the fast boot mode on your phone. Make sure you can find it. And then here's where I kind of ran into issues with this instruction guide. So this actually gave me this issue of this boot A doesn't exist, this slot. So we had to manually find the slot for me. This is what I had to do. So I'll give you the command I had to do here, which is fastboot get var current slot. So I had to do fastboot get var current slot to give me the current slot for me was boot underscore A, whereas here it was underscore underscore A, so it wasn't finding the correct slot here. So this is the command I had to use for me. Fastboot flash boot underscore A, and then this is the path to your recovery image, which for me was just outside of my folder, but for you it might be different. But this is what worked for me. So instead of flash boot, it's flash boot underscore A, because that was my slot, my current slot. And this worked for me. So yeah, this led to an issue. So that's the command. This is the command I had to use, and then this is the path to your recovery image. And then after that, you should have a custom recovery on your phone. So then when you boot from the fast boot and you go into recovery mode, it will actually get you into LineageOS recovery menu. Right, so now it's telling you reboot into recovery. So basically go into fast boot mode on your phone and then go to recovery mode, and you should boot into that custom LineageOS recovery that we just flashed. And then factory reset is just like a precaution. It will kind of reset your cache and it will remove encryption, and probably didn't have any data anyways because you just unlock the bootloader, but it's just a kind of a fail-safe. Alright, so right now you're in that custom recovery menu, and then we have that zip package that we downloaded from here, the nightly, right, 17.1. And then on the device, this is on the recovery menu, you select apply update, then apply from ADB. It'll get itself ready for sideloading, and then on the device we have to sideload it. So this is how we sideloaded. The command for it is ADB sideload, and then this is the path to the image or the zip, right? So that zip that we just downloaded for 17.1, you can do ADB sideload here, and that should actually install the LineageOS onto the device. And then make sure that you install the Google apps. If you want Google Play Store, make sure that you install that, and make sure to get the correct variant. So here's another thing I ran into. If you install stock or super or full, don't go for these ones because they will install that Google Pixel launcher or whatever. It will install that custom Google launcher, and you'll run into a lot of errors. Once you boot into LineageOS, it'll give you like some trebuchet has stopped working error, and it took me a while to figure this out. But if you use one of these variants, you'll run into a bunch of trebuchet errors. So don't choose these. Choose at least Mini worked for me, Micro, Nano, Pico, all these worked for me. So do not choose anything above Mini. So when you download this, open GApps. Okay, so that's another thing is if you want to have Google Play Store access in your Google apps, because LineageOS does not come with them, you have to install that using this custom zip file, and you have to install that right after you install LineageOS, before you boot into LineageOS for the first time. That's what this warning is for. If you install them after, it actually won't work. So make sure you do the ADB sideload, right, LineageOS, and then right after you reboot into recovery mode after that again, and then you sideload. Before you boot into LineageOS for the first time, you sideload again the OpenGApps zip that you just installed. So here I downloaded the Nano, and I sideloaded the Nano OpenGApps onto it. And that's pretty much it. And then after that, LineageOS should boot on the Essential phone. So that's what worked for me. I also found that sometimes, like, You may not want to have the Google apps, or maybe it doesn't work. You didn't properly install onto the phone. So in that case, you're missing the Google Play Store, but you still want to have your apps. So what do? There's a few options here. So there's F-Droid or G-Droid. You can download this from your phone directly. There's the APK files right here. This will give you access to a bunch of open source apps that are alternatives to some of the Google apps. So this is if you don't want to use any of the Google apps, Google Play Store apps at all. There's some alternatives here on the F-Droid store. Or G-Droid, which is an alternative client app I used. If you do want to have access to the Google Play Store without actually, using the Google Play Store app, or you had issues installing the OpenG apps like I did, then I recommend using Aora Store. So again, you can browse to this on your phone and download the Aora Store, and this is a client for Google Play Store. So you can use this to get all your Google Play apps. So once you have that, you have access to basically everything, right? So LineageOS, and then you have access to your Google Play apps as well. And technically, like Google does not endorse this at all, right? So you make sure that you sign in as anonymous. But other than that, that's it. That's the steps to installing LineageOS onto the Essential phone, and then adding the Google Play Store functionality so you get all your apps back. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, let me know.